Hi, it's Ileana, and we have Amir today with us. Hi, Amir.
Hello, I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for the opportunity, and hopefully, our conversation will be enjoyable and beneficial for our wonderful audience.
Indeed. So today we're doing part two of the remote viewing of the star drones and Alpha Centauri and the sentience and consciousness and ascension that's there connected to Earth. So I'm going to share the remote viewing data. Let's have a look what this is.
Um, okay, so in terms of refinement and advancement, it is very elevated. It has the potential to both observe but also to transport. Aperture radar, so for sensing, for let's say distance telemetry, but also a method of interaction with different domains of consciousness. It doesn't seem to have solidity to it, so it is higher dimensional in nature. This is not a physical device. Um, Very, very interesting use of light or light codes, geometry of light. So this is a basically the eyes and the hands in one body. It will be able to take in information, but also facilitate change in the desired domain of consciousness. So this seems to be more advanced than the things that we saw in our previous episode. Seems to have links to primordial light. Again, the gold color would hint at a connection to the beloved divine. So this could be used for keeping records. This could be used for real-time monitoring of countless domains of consciousness. But then also it will facilitate transportation for that matter. So very, very evolved, very advanced, and it seems that there is an intention of non-entanglement behind this. Primary motivation would be record keeping, observation, keeping tabs, or monitoring of quality, how different plans and designs are unfolding in real time, but also beyond the time for the illusion that it is. So looking at the start, middle, and end of a process all in one go. So I'm getting this information from the present image.
And is it connected to star codes in any way?
Codes most certainly. Would such an approach be used in the creation of the vessel for sentience that would be a star? Similar types of codes would be applicable. This is different, though. It seems to be a very unique application of light codes. But it is not the physical light, as in a photon containing energy, a packet of energy. We're talking about pure consciousness. It's non-material, so again, higher dimensional, connected to primordial light. Now, if this was used in the construction of a star, it would make perfect sense.
It just has a pure, clean frequency.
Agreed. Very, very pristine. Okay, more detail. Yep, going now into probably the oculus or the center of the device. This is the business end of it. And so using these, I would like to call it sentient geometry of consciousness. We see these now shown with something like pictographs or alphabet or runes or sigils, each containing an immense amount of information. Then the amalgamation of them together has this effect. The oval shape would be the interaction. So it would be sort of like the event horizon of where these codes begin to interact with the fabric of reality in the domain that is being observed or interacted with. So you would see this type of boundary in most types of portal technology. Here, it has its own signature property of the gold color, again, pointing at divine energy. This is usually the way I perceive it. This gold refers to the beloved source. Very refined, very elevated, and dare I say, benevolent structure. So yes, this would be this device in operation as it is interacting with the fabric or the structure or the matrix of reality in its intended destination.
It definitely feels like portal energy. It feels like creation, even manifestation of different realities merging, coalescing, and creating more positive timeline occurrences in a natural, organic evolution.
Yes, I think that is spot on. That's a perfect description of the feeling of the energy of this thing.
The codes have not been tampered with, they're pure.
Yes, I agree. It has a primordial sense to it, that this is eternal, and so it would exist beyond the life and death of a single universe. It's primordial light. Again, this is coming in strongly. So this would be superior to elemental forces, or it would come in priori to elemental substances that then would form manifested reality in different dimensions. Then in physicality, we would have the formation of strings of energy in subatomic particles and atoms and then molecules, and then things fall into line, and we've got the sequence of creation. So this is primordial, it is fundamental,
hmm And it's eternal, like you said.
is eternal. Yeah. So this would be like opening the eyelids, where uh, the whole thing starts working. So we saw in the previous image the boundaries out of the sentient light codes, or the sentient geometry interacting with the matrix of reality in a desired domain or location. And here is when it's starting to pierce through or open up or push away those boundaries. So on the other side, what would be observed would be a ring of fire, gradually with its breathing motion widening up. And so this could be a very, very tiny, imperceivable, or completely invisible, or it could be massive, moving through entire planetary systems, all in one go, or transporting a entire galaxy to a more desirable location in the cosmos, in a single universe, or maybe even migrating galaxies from one universe to the next. So scale is not a limitation. Time is not a limitation. It is pure sentience. So this is the opening of the eye.
And I feel like it removes the veils of amnesia. from different beings, species, and it shows true creation of how things exist, like the true history of universes, matrices, planets, biodiversity, life itself, like shows true creation. Whoever comes into contact with it, it opens their minds, their hearts, and their souls to what the truth is of creation itself.
The removal of ego and illusion. And there's a being that fits the description, which is Mother Kali. So we're probably moving towards that kind of sentience. Manipulating light in this fashion would be within the capability of beings of the void. And so the energy of Kali or the energy of the Vajrakila, certain beings born and residing in the void or reaching the void through natural evolution and merit would be able to utilize light in this fashion. So in terms of levels of evolvement and capability, this would be the domain of the beloved source, beings of the primordial void, but also very, very evolved light beings. So this also corresponds with the description held by our current civilization of angelic beings coming through.
Mhm.
So many concentric wheels going around, and then the eye in the center. So on the other side, what would be observed from a very evolved and benevolent and angelic being would also fit this description, although angelic beings would be less capable than those residing in a higher domain of consciousness. So they would still have certain boundaries and laws of existence to abide by. The void is total freedom. It is prior to manifestation, and so therefore it's a realm of energy, sentience, and all possibility.
That is what resonated with me as well. It's like the eternal sun that always burns and never goes out.
Beautiful. Okay. Here is the other side, basically. Let's say that the domain is physical reality and the illusion of time and location. Let's say it is 21st century Earth, and that a human being has reached to source and asked for healing, refinement, or wisdom. Now, we spoke about that reset, removal of ego and illusion and distortion. This is granted to all sentient beings in this universe. It's the law of liberty. If you reach to the light, it will reach back to you, and that is the law. So many, many seekers and many who walk the path of evolution would have seen something like this. Divine inspiration, healing, washing away of all heaviness and wounds. And this would be a monumental and profound event in the life of this individual who is then now observing this, not just in their higher faculties, but with their physical eyes. And what is seen cannot be unseen in this case. It sheds away all doubt. It gives certainty. It removes the need for belief, because once you know, there is no need to believe blindly. This would be what sets prophets to action. And so it is available to every one of us. We are never separate from the divine and those who are the agents and instruments of the divine.
It's like the scales of different times and spinning in the wheel of life, eternal wheel.
Eternity, yes. That's so beautiful. That eternity, much of the suffering is separate from pain and injury. Suffering is a condition that we choose often through some sort of distortion in our beliefs, thinking that we deserve it or it must be in order to gain something. That is a distortion. But this truth of eternity of consciousness, which applies also to the infinite soul and the soul shard, we are eternal beings. And so that takes away the sorrow of loss or the possibility of death, and it removes all pain. That eternity is the greatest healer.
Indeed, and the scales of time can reverse anything done, can be undone.
Absolutely. There's only the moment of now.
Yes, the moment of now. And I think this goes into the expansion of now.
Yes. I would call this the aftermath or the closing of the eye. Like a person wearing a very delightful and well-balanced perfume, walking through a hallway. This person will leave a trail behind them. And others may walk into the hallway and take a deep breath and smell this beautiful perfume and say, oh, so and so has been here recently. This is this beautiful, delightful perfume, sublime aroma of creation left behind, and here the aftermath is unfolding. The oculus is closing back. It has had its desired effect, and in its wake, it leaves these dynamic, evolving, intelligent patterns of geometry, which will give rise to magical events after. So it is not just a tap in and tap out. It has lasting effects, again, with laws of each dimension or domain. For example, time. This would last the test of time, going on and on, having reverberations. Sites where this event would occur would be holy ground, holy land. They would maintain that type of effect for millennia. And so temples would be built on these locations, having this powerful effect. Now, depending on what the nature of the interaction was, this would now justify and possibly explain legends of fountains of youth, where people would go and receive unbelievable healing or upgrades or very, very profound spiritual experiences.
And it to me, this feels like unity codes, unification, coming together, unifying things. The circle of life is completed. There's no voids, there's no empty spaces. Everything is filled in beautifully.
And so that is the height of liberation,
Mm-hmm.
removing uh, bounds and chains of identity. That even as a soul, we would be restricted by identity, by memories, by ego. And the very fact is that everything everywhere is an aspect of source. And so that unity will be demonstrated in these profound, elevated states of consciousness. And so even the aftermath of this sublime perfume coming into a reality would have this long-lasting effect.
Like resonating ripples on the water, but this is cosmic and space, planets everywhere.
Goes on and on and on.
Indeed.
Oh, very interesting. It's not a singular event. And of course, it's not a numbers game. A single infinite soul may have infinite shards in an infinite number of vessels. And so, of course, in higher dimensions of existence, the limitations of number, scale, distance, time, these are even fewer and softer. So this goes on over and over and over, infinity upon infinity. And so this would be one of the um, a beautiful demonstration of the unfoldment of the infinite fractal of existence as it is ever growing. The same principles apply everywhere. Certain laws are not unique to a single universe, they are primary, upon which we may have variations on a theme, different subtleties in the laws that go down in the scale of division from source. One universe may be using duality, one universe may use trinity, one may have unity. And so different levels of variation which give rise to the beauty of the infinite cosmos. Here we see the unfoldment of, let's say, plots upon which homes are going to be built. And so it is infinite, in infinite aspects and infinite variety.
And diverse and unique creations in different universes, with their light being seen as everything is created. Some are smaller, some are bigger, some are just babies being born. We're seeing that creation of them in multiplication.
Yes, the expansion of this fractal, each giving rise to the possibility of a whole variety of life forms to continue the journey of evolution of consciousness and liberation, refinement, greater levels of experience. And so, such is the nature of creation.
And each universe has its own creation codes, and we're seeing them light up and the different frequencies and how they come together or come apart. And creation is based upon that. And there's differences and similarities and subtleties.
This guides me towards the conclusion that perhaps the use of this type of sentient light geometry would be coming from the primordial void, which is a realm of infinite possibility. All possibilities, anything that is possible will come into existence. And so as it comes down into light, it becomes unique. It is consolidated into a single format, each different to the next, all beautiful.
And it could be accessed from anywhere. This was while I was in Alpha Centauri with my consciousness, where all of this was downloaded for us to interpret and understand. Because we're trying to figure out creation, ascension, and evolution. And this is part of what brings the puzzle pieces together for our understanding.
It most certainly has a healing, calming, and soothing effect for the physical aspect of consciousness, the brain, the nervous system, our desire to understand. We are, by very definition, limited in this area. There's just so much that the brain can contain and a certain level of complexity that we can comprehend and deal with. But in this form, it is most conducive to that purpose. We take in most of the information in a visual format. Then next category would be auditory, then tactile, and so on. So for those that have the gift of sight, this is a beautiful way of explaining infinite complexity in terms that are possible to absorb. But the effect is nevertheless the same, very soothing, that there is a profound wisdom and everything is considered. There's no cruelty, there's no vengeance. It is all just sublime beauty unfolding. And so, at a certain level of awareness, we may perceive things as evil, dirty, painful, terrible, and horrible. But once you evolve to a certain level, you understand the reasons behind these things existing also. They're part of the bigger picture and they serve a purpose. So yes, this is incredible.
And it's ever expanding and growing. It never stops growing.
Yep.
And it's like I can even hear music of violins when I look at this. Uh,
So
It's a
that's really the beauty of this.
it's a
Um,
synchronistic melody in a symphony.
and so when you give it energy, it'll start responding back. So in equal proportions, not in an overwhelming way. And so this would be an excellent focus point, this very slide right here, considering where it's coming from, what it represents in many levels. Meditating upon this will slowly start growing the interaction and the flow of information. So now the music that's coming in, if you persist and keep sending it consciousness, it'll grow and evolve probably into a conversation, an entire dialogue, an entire journey, taking you with it and showing you things beyond wonder.
It's like reaching equal equilibrium at its best points and going into the horizon and exploring the expansiveness of all creation.
In fact, I would like to politely recommend to our wonderful, esteemed audience to give this a few minutes. Just look, relax, and see what unfolds. It would be very interesting to hear back in the comments that about what has been experienced, what has been revealed. An interesting exercise in expansion and evolution.
Yes, and people can pause this talk and have a look at this and really just meditate and sit with it and see what comes in for you, how it can help you. And just go into the expansiveness and explore because it's very healing and positive vibration.
Yes. So here we have um, the settling. The eye has opened. We've got that blink from the divine. The eye is opened and closed. The aftermath is over, and the dust is settling. Now, upon this foundation that has come into existence in such a fashion, the next levels of manifestation of dimensions and reality can occur. And so there is this interconnection between all things. This is what facilitates the journey of consciousness without limitations. Separation is the greatest illusion, and unity is the ultimate truth. That no matter where this spark of the divine, which is our soul, is located, we have access to the entire thing, to all existence. And so once we shed illusions that make us small, doubts and negative programming, once we shed the distortion caused by trauma, and we are once again our true self, this is what is presented to us. It has always been our birthright, and yet we need to remember it and claim it through healing and through honest and genuine seeking. That is how remote viewing is done. It is the acceptance, easing into the reality of our infinite nature, and then trusting those gentle whispers of the soul that come into the monkey brain and allowing it to unfold.
And it's the freedom to express yourself and to experience anything you want in your creation. This opens you up to possibilities of never endless futures, the opportunity to experience eternal life, eternal light, and eternal creation using your imagination and your creativity to manifest and create anything. There's no there's no end or no beginning really. It's expansiveness, and there's no limitation in this field of creative creation that expands, multiplies, and layers itself, because there's layers here. Interconnectedness, a
Yes,
focus.
yes. That freedom of expression, this is something that many, many people, almost all people face,
Mhm.
where they're afraid of being negatively judged. This is a generational trauma, and it's self-perpetuating like an illness or a virus, where our ancestors, many of whom were very, very capable, tapped in to their infinite self, would have been punished. And then many belief systems and organized religion and systems of governance come in, and they reinforce this trauma. Don't say what shakes the status quo. You may be punished, you may be hurt, you may be extinguished. And there's place for rejoicing here that now we're in a time where control systems have bigger fish to fry than the spiritual liberation of an individual. And so we owe this to ourself to become free, to become our true self.
And it's like exploring multiple possibilities, walking through different doors of creation and tapping and seeing what's on the other side, and experiencing that to the full ability to go to different places with freedom of mobility and not be restricted by anyone or anything. In energetic creation, your soul and your body is free to travel and explore all of this however you want, without any limitation or blocks or no interferences. This is pure energetic freedom and physical freedom to go out there and see the universes, multiverses, or wherever you want to go.
And to also consider that this very type of um, technology of creation that we are now speaking about, which is the subject of this episode and this conversation, this exists within us.
Mhm.
As aspects of source, we have this built in. And so that it would be the height of actualization of our real liberation when we come into understanding this is who we really are. There's no limitation in any dimension or domain. And
Mhm.
so moving towards that, that is a beautiful goal.
Mhm. Indeed.
So we've got um, creation. We can call it manifestation of existence or the fabric of reality in a local domain, where now this set of generative, intelligent, and dynamic codes, or that essence of creation, is unfolding. The seed is sprouting. And so we're getting colors of light blue. Probably this would have a little bit of violet inside. So we're coming down the scales into more, um, let's say, tardy or slow reality compared to the instantaneous flow of consciousness in higher dimensions. Now things are slowing down. We're going down the scale of vibration. And this would be the creation of, let's say, 12th dimension, coming down, eventually trickling down into physicality, and then continuing to trickle down into domains that are more dense than physical reality. So, what shall we call this? We can call this the unfoldment.
As above, so below,
as above, so below.
going from upwards to downwards, side to side, and energy coalescing into physicality and kind of taking everything through the blender to create from energy to physical aspect.
Yes. So
Whether
the foundations are set, the concrete is hard, and now we can start building upon these foundations that are common everywhere.
the living blocks of life, whether you're creating a human body, a soul, an essence of manifesting something into your existence, this is kind of the process you may see energetically of different frequencies and light, upwards, downwards, side to side, and then coming back together.
Absolutely. So this would be the most refined way to manifest, from source trickling downwards. Although it is possible to catch the stream somewhere in the middle of the journey, to manifest from the astral plane, manifest from the ninth dimension, or even manifest from physical reality. This is all still possible. But coming from this level of elevation, of purity, of primal consciousness, this is very, very powerful. It has the potential to rewrite what is in its path. And so, in certain events of healing, or let's say the undoing or dismantling of certain non-beneficial formations or negative use of spiritual law, this is how it is done. So you go to levels that are superior to the creation of the negative or undesirable effect. So this is rewriting, recreation, correction, healing, balance. This is coming from a higher level. You have the ability to wash away and forge into a more pure and sublime and conducive and beneficial form, that which is already in reality.
It's like the anchoring point or the anchoring bridge in the middle where you see it all coming together. And it's
Agreed.
sublime
Beautiful.
creation.
Yes, yes, indeed. So here we have, this is a vantage point, a cut into, let's say, a slice into reality, a certain snapshot in a moment, or let's say consolidated coordinates, looking at this process of unfoldment, like an MRI, taking slices of images next to each other. This would be one of them. And so we here see sacred geometry that is observable at many different levels or different scales. This type of pattern, it could be a star going supernova in a last hurrah, or it could be the formation of a snowflake. So out of chaos, order emerges. Chaos is just an illusion. It is having a limited point of view. And once you go to the appropriate scale, you see the laws in action. And so this geometric form can be observed at many different scales over and over. So it's part of the fundamental outcomes that are possible within a single universe or a single reality. So interaction between straight lines, usually this would indicate a snapshot.
A moment in time as it was, and then you see its field, and then it morphs into something else.
And it continues on and on. So this could be the interaction between stars. So between the bright spots, the bright dots of light, these could each be individual stars being observed again from a higher dimension, and how they have this conversation amongst themselves. as a soul family. Again, stars are vessels to souls, like the human body, and yet because they are so much greater, larger, containing more energy in terms of a physical reality, they can host a more evolved and complicated soul shard or soul.
Mhm.
And so they've got this conversation going on. Maybe it's a baby shower. A new star is going to be coming, and they're all having a nice little party. Oh my God, did you know the baby's coming? What shall we get the baby? Okay, I'm going to donate a solar system. Let's see what happens there. And so it shouldn't be surprising that in a sentient and conscious universe, there is much chatter.
Mhm. And it's beautiful, energetic conversation.
Yep.
And we get to see a snapshot of it as it's happening in real time. And this could have been in the past, it could have been in the present or the future, because it's ever evolving.
Yes. It's all here. It's all now.
Mm-hmm.
This would be a shift in focus or changing the camera lens. Seems we're changing our point of view from which dimension we are observing this unfoldment. So again, this could be the same type of snapshot in reality, but we're going through barriers of dimensions. So going up in dimensions, there's a folding upon itself of reality. And so we're adding more aspects or degrees of freedom to the information or to the range of possibilities that can exist. Like an insect flying around, at each snapshot in time, it has a coordinate within a room. If we've got a reference, the X, Y, and Z change, still doing its motion. So in a lower dimension, we would see a snapshot. In the next dimension, we'll see the motion. And so here we're looking at the same event, but now adding a whole nother degree of freedom to it. So there's a folding of reality on itself as now we make space for greater liberty of movement. Many of these suns existing along snapshots in that particular dimension. We're getting ready to see this unfold. So not a snapshot, now we're going to movie. Getting ready to see this in a more dynamic and holistic way.
I feel the same.
So again, it seems that this is a interesting sequence of images continuing to go up the scale. And now we've got many of these little clusters of, we'll call them for just the sake of argument, stars. These little clusters all existing at the same time. So now we have many movies playing at the same time. And so going up the scale of consciousness, this is quite natural, ultimately going to the void where all possibility is superimposed upon each other. And so being capable of perception of such a thing, all possibility in one go, would indicate complete liberation from any form of ego. There's very little identity. It's the energy and dynamic potential of creation. So this could be observing the evolution, the dynamics between local star systems from dimension 8.
Mm-hmm. And it has this kind of like an octagon rectangle.
Yep.
So it's seeing within several dimensions, realms, and the possibility of everything that's happening in creation of stars and different universes, different fields of reality, even that expansion of creation.
And so this is just a little frame of an infinite setting of this nature. So this could potentially cover all the stars in one universe. And so a being has this aspect or this point of view and is looking for a suitable star with a certain type and combination of properties to seed life. So creator beings who are responsible for the seeding of life and the perpetuation of life would have this kind of a vantage point.
A galactic roadmap, if you will, but on
It
a,
has it has to be this way. You're never going to go from one to the next using rockets and thinking of three-dimensional coordinate systems. It becomes a larger number. Many things are simultaneous. And so through our physical bodies, we are very, very restricted. This is now a matter for pure consciousness, relatively evolved level of consciousness to be able to perceive things in this way. Even if perceived, it cannot be brought back down into the human mind. It is incompatible.
part of the cosmic consciousness of creation now.
Yeah. And so here we go again. This happened a billion years ago. It is happening a billion years from now. It is happening right now. So the same fundamental conditions of bringing existence or creation into being, we are seeing this mechanism once again. So from the void, there is sound, and then there is light, and then there is manifestation. So calling this light would be technically inaccurate. There needs to be another word formed for this divine sentience. It is superior to light and sound. So we can call this a thought in the consciousness of the beloved source of all things. A little spark of divine thought that gives rise to all of this.
Mm-hmm. It's like the cycles of the Kali Yuga, but much bigger than that.
It would absolutely contain all of this. Many, many levels to it. So many concentric circles. And if this would be, okay, looking at it in this fashion, the consciousness of the seeker would be seated at the center. And depending on the amount of energy that they can dedicate to this interaction with this infinite set of wisdom or divine codes, they will reach further away from the center and gain greater understanding with the increase in the perimeter of each of these circles. So this is demonstrated beautifully. The volume of knowledge at each level is also increasing.
Mm-hmm.
And so the further you go, you get a whole order of magnitude, greater knowledge. And so for mundane tasks, physicality, 3D life, and the lifespan of a human, you just need to sit in the middle. Just sit, be quiet, and let it be. And if you are then at the level of, say, beings that are seeding suns, creating vessels for sentient beings, you're somewhere close to the center. And then if you're a multi-universal being, you are closer to the outer edges, but not all the way. So there is no upper limit to evolution. And so we can travel and evolve without any end to the journey.
And you can go in far-reaching corners of these levels of exploration and evolution and expression. You can go inwards or outwards and play the symphony.
There's an interesting thought that sitting at the center, it is at this center that it is all generated. So these are waves of consciousness, of sentience, of divine will spreading out like ripples on a pond. And so being in that center point and just allowing, just that stillness, allowing the wisdom built into our vessel and our soul to do its thing, we are then that mighty, beloved source of all things. And so there's something to be said about stillness. In that stillness, there is great strength and generative potential.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here we see the outer levels from that center, from that generative seed of creation, starting to dim. So it's going towards aftermath level. This would then be perhaps the midlife crisis of a universe, where they buy something ridiculously expensive, or they do something out of order, completely insane, just to feel the life and youth again. So this would be the half point of a universe. Thinking of the lifespan of each universe like an inhalation and exhalation. Now the lungs are full and the exhalation is about to begin. Halfway through, eventually one universe dies out and the next one is born. So these pulses up and down, these waves of birth and death, this would be going towards the midpoint, a little bit before the midpoint. I'll call this one midlife crisis.
But the lights are still on and the experience
The
still
lights are still
happens.
on, but nobody's home.
Maybe some of them are home, but they're kind of
That
experiencing it a different way now. Uh, some are there, some are gone, some are moving somewhere else in the concentric rings, because you can pop in and out of universes.
that is spot on. That would be um, let's say we have a species that managed to sufficiently evolve within the natural lifespan of a universe. This would be where they seek refuge uh, between the death of one and the birth of another universe. And we know these species do exist.
Mhm.
Hopefully, this will be the destiny of humanity, where now this universe is a young one. We haven't even approached the midlife crisis point. And so much effort has gone into the unnatural evolution of mankind. We've been given a massive head start. And so once we are set free from, let's say, the matrix, these conditions that forced our expedited evolution, we have a very, very good chance of outlasting the death of this universe. Hopefully, our wonderful distant cousins in Alpha Centauri will be with us. Or hopefully, we will be with them. I'm getting to like these guys more and more. Oh, well, what do you know? One is going out and another is coming in. So I would like to call this one the eternal refuge or the eternal sanctuary. This is where beings, a soul group or a collective, gain liberty from death. They become worthy of eternity. And this is possible for individual souls And it happens very, very frequently, where an individual raises above the limitations of a single universe and actualizes this. But this eternal sanctuary would be for large collectives, entire species. And so I'm interpreting the left or the right, either one. I mean, there's no up and down or left or right in this case. One getting ready to blink out, and the next one getting ready to come in. Individual universes.
Mhm. And I was just flying by and seeing all of this and grabbing as much as I could to explore. As you pass
Wow.
by, you grab it all. What looks interesting, what feels like it's part of the creation. Just grab as much as you can to explore later.
Wow.
So
So
it's
the
like,
natural of the cosmos, uh, an, an eternal process. And so it seems that life is given every opportunity to return home from the beloved source, great levels of separation and individualization, down to fundamental particles, then forming minerals, hosting sentience, then becoming alive with our definition, movement, consumption of energy, reproduction, more complicated forms, ascending beyond physicality, pure consciousness, and then outliving the death of a universe, and so gaining the right to become multi-universal. After that, with certain rites of passage, such souls become prime creators of their own universes. This is the uh, ever expanding nature of reality. And not all prime creators are the same. Some are new at it, some are pros. They've done this for a long time. And evolution continues.
and it is a natural process.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Here we go again. New one coming in. This mechanism of divine consciousness, the sentience, geometry, coding, a thought in the consciousness of the source of all things. Again, the eye opens. A new cycle begins. There's ever expanding ripples upon the foundation of existence going out and giving rise to the conditions of this whole infinite cycle of life, death, and rebirth, life, death, and rebirth to continue. And so it's interesting how these have come into perfect sequence. The new one has come in. And so those guys sitting in the center from the previous universe, now they've got a whole lifespan of a new universe to continue evolving. This is incredible. So they might be given the task of seeding life according to their own structure, maybe even finding sublime wisdom that has been missed in the previous iteration. Because existence is infinite. This is a joyful, joyful event. Like you've made it through the storm and the winter, and like a bear, you come out of your cave and you stretch yourself and you go off seeking energy and wisdom and nourishment and greater wisdom and evolution.
You have a beautiful environment to do it in.
All brand new.
Mhm.
Yep, these wonderful patterns going out. I think this shows that energy and dynamism and vitality of this process of unfolding. So the foundation being set within the new universe for manifestation to begin, trickling down through the dimensions, then into physicality and also denser realities. Then upon this, matter can form. And then there are those responsible for forming massive collection of matter, eventually forming stars, planets, and then the journey of life continues. So this would be the infancy of a new universe, where things aren't quite ready yet. Nothing comes from nothing. And so this is the foundation upon which life can begin its wonderful journey.
It's pulsing the creation points.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we've got more color. This would be the coming into existence of higher dimensions, not too close to the very powerful generative center, but at a Goldilocks zone. So suddenly we have the realm of primordial light and upper dimensions, void, sound, light, and dimension 12 through 10. And many evolved beings will start forming here. So it's interesting, I hadn't considered this before, that physical life is kind of the end of the process, that existence starts from higher dimensions. And that's the beauty of going through iterations of birth and death of universes. So angelic beings naturally would exist before humanity. Now, how interesting that is reflected in many mainstream religions too. And now we kind of get it. Ah, okay, that's what's going on. And so with every belief system, there are elements of truth, and that cannot be denied. Here we're seeing the creation of higher dimensions, more evolved beings. Then towards the end of the journey of coming into being will come physicality.
Mm-hmm. And it's a roadmap to that creative points of how they're coming in, going out, and how they're going in the upper dimensions or how they're going into the physical lower dimensions. And yet life still exists and the creation goes on and you experience it as a soul, no matter what format you're in. The light will always be there. The soul,
Yes,
the eternal ancient soul will always thrive.
I love that. That is beautiful. Spot on. And then no matter where you are in the periphery, no matter how close or far you are located, um, upon this foundation of existence, you always have access to that eternal sanctuary, that ever-present link to the beloved source of all things. And so then in matter of scale coming down, this could also represent an individual being where that spark of the beloved divine continuously exists within. So the way out is in, going inward and rediscovering that eternal spark of source. So that process of remote viewing, of becoming aware of many domains of existence is involution. It is going within and liberating the self in that way. So we already saw that up and down and left and right isn't a thing. Well, it turns out inside and outside really isn't a thing either. So we need to kind of open the mind to, yeah, it's very enjoyable working with these concepts.
And now we see some Zatarians, Apunians, and what exists on Alpha Centauri.
Oh, wow. So these beings, would they still enjoy physicality, having a physical vessel?
Yeah, this is some of the Zatarians that I saw in this physical matter with the elongated heads and human bodies, yet the heads are different. And they sort of sometimes they're beyond physicality now, but they like to come into physical creation and explore sea, and they were part of creating the star drones.
Ah, wow. Okay, so these guys are very evolved. I see their signature all the way up to ninth and 10th dimension, very evolved. Amongst them, many of them are multi-universal already. Beautiful collective. And so it's good that they're facilitating the remembering of certain fundamental truths of existence to humanity in this form. And so those that are meant to receive and understand this information at this current period will do so. It absolutely isn't suitable for the general public who have to still work on shedding limitations, coming to the acceptance of truth, that they are infinite, that they are multidimensional. And so I'm very grateful to these wonderful beings who are doing us this favor of just shedding light of truth on what really is the dynamics of creation, birth and death of universes, the eternity of consciousness, that nothing is futile, that nothing goes to waste, that there is a sublime beauty underneath everything, that we
Mhm.
should be more tolerant and open-minded and be willing to let go of old doo-doo.
And these Atarians can change form, so this is one of their forms. But they have others too, and they wanted to share creation with us.
Understood. It's interesting that the form is very distinctly humanoid, and so that might not be the archetypical form that they evolved as. We must leave that possibility open. They may have evolved in a completely different biological archetypical form. Could be ocean life. It could be plant life. It could be insectoid. It could be many, many different varieties that have gained a certain level of sentience and refinement. And so I think there's great symbolism in this physical manifestation of them. So it's meant to be non-threatening, putting the audience at ease, at greater ease. So of course they have access to many, many physical forms at choice. They can create vessels that would suit certain objectives without much limitation. So beings that have reached the level of seeding and creating stars and building planetary systems, I see this as a sign of benevolence towards us. We don't have anything that they need. And so their interaction is basically out of goodwill. It is an indication of who they are, really. That we don't interfere, we don't really care one way or another. Oh, boop, by the way, here's a whole library of truth and information that will do you good. Run off with it. Let's see what you do.
Exactly.
And so this would be the masculine form.
Yes.
Okay, very interesting. So yes, they're choosing to appear in this fashion. Again, with the structure of the eyes both facing forward, it's the ability to be predatory. So right there with the orientation of the eyes, because they can have compound eyes, like insects, or they may be located in different orientations. This is distinctly predatory, both male and female. So this is kind of a very gentle way of saying, don't even think about it. Yeah, we're not food, we cannot be conquered. And so in a way that at a very, very fundamental level, humans will understand this is their shape. But yet again, the eyes have this almost seriousness, um, detachment almost, meaning that there's no emotional content to the information. It is not meant to be that way. It may evoke great emotion and passion in the recipient, but that is then a byproduct as this information is received and absorbed. And we like to use our senses. Again, you used the example of the violins playing. I use the example of perfume, right? So we're now trying to make it more tangible to the human. So interesting manifestation of form. They could have, I mean, any one of those orbs, those sacred divine formations that give rise to life, they can easily embody that kind of vessel too. So I think it's all for the purpose of not scaring the children, and emphasis on not. So this is meant to be a friendly wave, like, hello, distant cousins. Don't freak out. This is some good stuff. Absorb as much as this information as you can.
Yet you can't take advantage of us.
Exactly. I mean, don't even go there. Okay, so this would probably be um, like it late teenage time frame. Again, using the human vessel as a reference. Um, or this could also be towards the end of their lifespan. So again, there is this beauty in the change of vessels. Each unique vessel, noble vessel, facilitates different types of lesson and experience and challenge. So as infinite souls, they would also take full advantage of this property within this universe. So of course, vessels are meant to be honored, used correctly, and then when the time comes, they should be shed. Now moving towards the end of their, let's say, limited lifespan. So the end of an incarnation.
And they
Of
can
course,
take on other forms.
absolutely, absolutely. Knowing what it would be like to swim like a whale, what it would be like to have a insectoid or arachnid body. What would it be like to fly without limitation amongst the stars? And so, again, completely organically, or again, quote unquote, organically, for whatever structure and format that would correctly apply to them. Um, yes, I'm getting to like these guys even more.
They're multi-adaptive, I would say, because they can bridge any physical body shape, form, thought, and they can take on different formats of iteration and creation, humanoid or non-humanoid too.
It's really interesting that even this soul family or this collective have aspects in human bodies. So there's something to be said about the richness and depth of experience that we have here. So, of course, they've tried many forms, and taking the form of a human being on Earth in this particular period in our evolution is very, very rewarding. Although I would imagine as they come in, they would have a difficult time because the system that has been in place up to current time insists on memory wipes. So they would not necessarily do very well. That might kind of come as a surprise to them. It would also raise concerns that, oh my goodness, look at these humans. Under these conditions, this is how they are performing. Once they are liberated, they will be a worthy partner or a worthy adversary. And so again, these beings are liberated from the illusion of time. And so for them, it is a very present matter. Probably it has sparked great philosophical discussion amongst them. What shall become of these mighty humans once they are truly set free? Well, we shall see. I think we're going to do well.
Mhm.
Hey, these guys are special. Uh, these are more closer to typical human form. And so along that conversation that we navigated towards, this would fit very nicely souls of these wonderful beings coming into human form. Entering each type of vessel requires trade-offs in order for the soul to interact correctly with the light body, the energetic structure of each vessel. So they would have to make certain compromises. Maybe they will maintain their original structure in the higher energy centers, crown, third eye, jade gate, and so on. But at a certain level, they have to accept the physical structure of the human. So that means they are naturally going to become susceptible to all sorts of interference and damage. And that is the excitement of actually wanting to come here. Let's see how we do instead of driving a spaceship, doing a horse and buggy. Because that is also immensely entertaining and enjoyable, or riding on a horse. That never becomes old. So this would be some sort of a compromise between their original energetic form and something that would be capable of incarnating into a human body.
Mm. And the foreheads and the heads elongated goes to more of a typical humanoid as they come down through the densities and dimensions of biodiversity, I would say.
Yes, less brain, more monkey.
Mm. Still higher intelligence, just like don't always need the elongated skull capacity to function at a higher level. There's an intermediary bridge system between all of it.
Yes, there's a sweet spot um, between brain power and the use of energy. Right now, human bodies, about 20% of the energy expenditure of the body is dedicated to the brain. This is a large amount of energy. And so, in evolutionary terms, that might be right at the border of being too much. So, beings working with pure built in consolidated code, like sharks, they haven't really changed. There's no strategy. There's just a very optimized instincts, codes that are very refined and they keep on working. So these guys would probably be a little bit across that line. So greater cognitive ability, maybe um, extra susceptibility or sensitivity to higher aspects of consciousness in human form. So they would be distinct, they would be very special individuals. And so perhaps they would be able to function better, but that is never guaranteed. And so maybe certain compromises that they make to come into human form will actually backfire and result in a number of them getting stuck on Earth. Oh dear, we messed this one up. And so perhaps there's more of a motivation for this release of truthful information, because I wouldn't be surprised not only for these wonderful beings, but for many, many evolved beings who come down to Earth and they forget everything and they just like it a little bit too much and they're stuck here over and over and over, and the rest of their family is looking at the time for what that is worth. And hey, what the hell? Let's go already. So it's interesting. Humanity is getting ready to pop, to awaken, to remember, and so perhaps these guys, the one on the right is looking a little bit dazed, like, oh my God, I can't even believe I came down here. What was I thinking? So perhaps they're waiting for their own people to be liberated. Okay, these are not entirely human. So this, you mentioned something about them being multi-adaptive.
Yes.
This is now an expression of that. These would not be typical human beings of 3D Earth, but they are humanoid or very close relatives, or designs for vessels that are very close in terms of the conditions of the worlds where they have evolved. And so under certain conditions, the result is going to be similar. Example of this would be ninth dimensional elven people, which have had great interaction throughout history with humanity. Amongst one of the earlier images, we saw this interconnectivity of existence with these pathways that's represented in the Nordic understanding of different realms of reality, although limited, but fairly accurate. So these guys with minor modification, they just need to put on a beanie and they could walk on the high street without raising too much suspicion. So this form would be more capable, more refined and evolved than the current iteration of humanity. I'd like to emphasize that the complete design of the human would be more capable than these beings. We're going to see that coming in as time goes on. Within our own natural lifespan in these bodies, we're going to see very, very special children being born, immune to lots of downfalls that, say, our generation, our parents and grandparents had no defenses against. These children will be naturally immune. And so that's good. So this is another version of them going exploring, going on a walkabout to see what it's like to be in different forms of life. Again, completely legal, abiding by all the laws of each one of these planetary systems. These particular individuals will have a wonderful time. Earth is kind of like for a more masochistic type of soul that has something to prove. Because down here, we're not always having rainbows and unicorns. It's very tough. Ooh. Again, following the same general theme, energy signature, although it's slightly different. And I'm not referring to the vessels, I'm talking about the souls that are incarnating in this. in this form. Adaptation for lack of humidity. We're seeing something looking like snow or water in the back, but it could be just out of context. So this type of vessel would be resilient to higher levels of solar radiation. Again, a different world. Same pattern or same objective of as much experience as possible. A few hundred lifetimes in this world, using these bodies, a few hundred lifetimes in another. And so something interesting just came in that they do have a positive, a constructive, and a beneficial effect on the worlds they visit. They would be examples of how to live correctly towards greater evolution, non-violation of harmony, and the highest good of all. It seems that is very much so built into them. So none of the members of this soul family will ever become tyrannical. That is a interesting trait that is never extinguished. They would not incarnate in a world if that part of them is compromised. So it's win-win. They get the experience of very diverse conditions of life, and they leave a positive legacy behind. So they would be great teachers. They would be great managers, or let's say organizers of effort, leaving positive, let's say, collections of information, architecture, technology, science. So they're in their purest forms, they are illuminators, bringing in enlightenment very gently at something that seems to be common amongst all these aspects, and again within the signature of the soul family itself is a lack of emotion. And this is not the same of a lack of empathy, but it is reaching mastery, where they're continuously at this state of stillness. Again, that stillness that came up in the images related to the birth and death of universes. That, let's say, divine stillness from which um, um, all movement, all motion, all dynamics come. This is what they are embodying.
They have great adaptability and patience and resilience.
Agreed. Oh, wow. So this would be a suitable world for them to evolve, and so perhaps their birthplace.
Mhm.
Perhaps the wonderful world that was conducive to their expedited evolution. It seems that this world is abundant in softness and moderation, lots of plant life, and the restriction of predatory forms. It would allow certain types of beings that would sustain themselves through the consumption of plants to evolve without interruption. Moderate climate, high consistency, even a change of seasons would not be a thing. So this environment is continuous. So a much more hospitable environment to life, which would explain why they have reached the level they have reached so quickly compared to what has happened on Earth. Now, adding to that, they were never subject to the unnatural evolution, which has an unfortunate side effect with periodic events of extinction. Many species don't make it. Now, in this environment, they would have the ability to go through the motions, gentle, natural evolution, but without any interruption. This has been denied from humanity. So, well, on the positive side, we have built-in strengths and adaptability that they would not have acquired evolving in such a sublime and gentle and soft environment. So, in equal conditions, humanity is far more capable. In fact, I would dare to say superior to them. So that would also justify continued interaction, although they have evolved considerably, but there is still wisdom to be acquired through interaction with humanity.
Agreed.
Greater variations again. So colder climate, again, abundance of plant life. Plant life is a very important prerequisite for any other type of life forms to evolve. Um, they seem to be a very noble archetype of life. In our world, they have not surrendered to the control system, and so interaction with them in terms of consciousness, or even in the natural exchange of energy through the consumption of life forms through food. It seems that they are an instrument of evolution and connection to source. Abundant plant life, or trees especially, is very, very conducive to evolution in many, many different levels. So beings that would naturally evolve in this environment would be gentle. They would live in small numbers. There's no need to overpopulate. And they would have very impressive levels of awareness and spiritual abilities.
Definitely. I see them as very peaceful, loving, and teaching knowledge.
Just beautiful harmony. And they would greatly care for the environment. Each, let's say, nucleus family would be custodians to a vast domain of natural, let's say, forests. And they would take great, great care of this environment. So it's a completely symbiotic, very harmonious relationship. And this, so they would live very, very long lifespans also compared to a human. And going back to their evolution, this world would have naturally been a very docile and soft environment. So it seems that life in Alpha Centauri is, at least in terms of planets that host life and continue evolving life, much less harsh than what we have here in our galaxy. And of course, harshness gives rise to competition. Lack of resources gives rise to warfare. And so they would not have suffered this type of problem. So peaceful existence and continued growth, of course, they would graduate faster.
I think so as well.
Oh, wow. Okay, going into the elemental realm. I like this. Many archetypes of life, not all of them are entirely physical, of course. So we saw examples of physical domain, third dimension vessels. This is now going into the fourth and fifth dimension, Elementals, we've got a great variety of species of elementals on Earth. And of course, the structure of their vessel was used as a building block or a foundation. Then the physicality of the vessel was added to it. And so nothing is wasted. There is a continued evolution and recycling of ideas and patterns. And so this would be an incarnation within the vessels of elemental beings, and more specifically, fire elementals. Incredibly long lifespans, incredible levels of resistance and resilience. This form of life would evolve the fastest. Continued growth and evolution within a single body. Now, especially this is true on Earth, that fire elementals have acquired an unimaginable bonanza of wisdom from the infinite cosmos. And so those that were alive, let's say, at the rise and fall of Lemuria and Atlantis and the old Egyptian kingdom, they're still alive in the present time. And so imagine with a little bit of dedication how far such a being can go. Again, they would be subject to the reincarnation limitations of this planet. So elementals in this planet, in our world, would also be relatively behind compared to elemental beings of other worlds. So this whole system of incarnation and memory wipes applies to them also. So there's going to be a moment of rejoicing for all sentient life on Earth once this holographic reality is rolled out. But again, the benefit of what has happened here is resilience. Now, this toughness has made us immune and capable to tolerate, withstand many, many different types of adversity. Without these conditions, we would go extinct. So again, one-to-one, an elemental being on Earth is at a whole different level of adaptability and resilience compared to elemental beings that are non-native. Now, this could very much so be Earth.
And it's interesting to see that these Zetarians went through different forms of evolution, from more humanoid to more elemental to the fire aspect to all levels of consciousness and reality and existence. They've amassed great understanding of what it means to be corporeal and non-corporeal and go between one and the other and understand how that process works.
This is a wonderful piece of good news for all our wonderful audience. Many of them may think, okay, I'm really tired of Earth. And what next? Well, we will be able to experience all this wonderful variety of life once we graduate and the soul has completed its purpose. Whatever lessons we have come to learn, or let's say technologies to acquire, wisdom to gather, then this will also be available to us. And so we will have a very, very large, infinitesimal large menu to choose from. Perhaps we can take the form of these wonderful beings and experience what life would be in one of their vessels. So it's a never-ending journey of exploration and adventure and delight.
Exactly. And this is a different species called the Punians.
In terms of features, Nordic probably similar to Pleiadians, although these ones seem to have taken a different approach to instinct and emotion. Not entirely, so there is still that almost flat line. There's no fluctuation in energy, but greater levels of empathy. Life would have evolved under harsher conditions. So it's very interesting that the difficulty of the natural environment gives rise to greater emotional capacity. So these are somewhat different to the previous species. Again, very, very evolved, non-corporeal originally, taking a 3D physical vessel will still allow them a very great variety of experience and sensation, and so it is still highly valued. They can do this on and off, so it wouldn't be an incarnation process. They would be able to take physical form, a form that is conducive to their objective at a given time, and even within, let's say, a certain condensation of form into physicality, they can shapeshift. This seems to be common among all these groups. And so again, this form coming into your consciousness and then being made available to our wonderful audience, it's meant to come across as more of a soul family or cousins, giving the impression of kinship, of alignment. There's nothing threatening in this formation. And yet there is that underlying sense of calmness or balance. So emotional range would be significantly smaller than what we are able to embody. Now, in terms of what can be manifest, we are capable of great explosions of manifestation, these manifestations being fueled by the emotions. And although that could be a source of volatility and destruction, but emotions and thought patterns under control, it can be a source of immense strength, something that is absent in many species that evolve in more calm environments. And this would also explain why many dragon archetypes would find Earth very conducive to their growth and greater experience. They are also capable of great explosions of emotion and energy. So, yes, very gentle, very calm. Again, this form would be able to easily adapt to the energetic structure of the human body with fewer compromises. And what would be of great interest to them would be our, again, that very volatility. It is a unique experience to be swayed side to side so violently by things that are out of your control, namely emotions. We get hurt, we get happy, we feel love, we feel hate, we feel pain, we feel joy. This is very, very valuable. It is not something that all species have the privilege of experiencing.
So there's a very interesting contrast of the Centaurians, the Punians, and probably other species in Alpha Centauri in this biodiversity. These two species were the most interesting because they were the originators and the creators of the star drones and that sentience technology that we were looking at.
Of course, if they have reached such levels of growth and evolution, there will be a consistency in their life force, in their thought patterns. Certain levels of development require harmony and cooperation. Now, humanity is very far from that state. And so perhaps in our infancy, as we are continuing to evolve, this is the place to really, really have fun with these energies, this volatile nature that is closer to the beginning of the evolution process. Prey and predator. limited resources, competition, and these great, wonderful, and terrible emotions that we have. It is exciting. So it is a much more primal and primitive way of being, not without its rewards, wisdom, and beauty. But eventually, down the line, humanity will evolve out of this primal nature. It has not happened yet. So the same dynamics that gave rise, for example, to World War One and World War Two, we're the same beings. Nothing has changed. And so great care must be taken to avoid similar disasters out of our volatility. At the end of the day, we're a small species among the stars, and so yet we still quabble with each other about race and religion and all that nonsense. And so down here, this controlled chaos, this madness, it's exciting. So it's a like going to the movie Jurassic Park, going checking out how the dinosaurs lived. This would be the equivalent for them coming into 3D Earth.
From that state of calmness in Alpha Centauri to
Oh yeah,
this more
madness.
in yeah, to this more fiery, explosive energy that we have here on Earth. But then that helps to understand the contrast of duality and diversity between different species and energies and frequencies, corporeal form versus non-corporeal form, back and forth, going from the higher dimensions to the lower and to the midpoint, the different frequencies of realms, planets, galaxies, all that upper, lower, it's all creation that helps you to learn and build on your knowledge as you have experience in all these different bodies and forms. It just makes you
Absolutely,
stronger.
exactly right. And so um, it's just a greater accumulation of experience and wisdom. And so coming as a soul down to the realm of Earth with the experiment of guaranteed unnatural evolution, it's an opportunity to greater evolution as a soul, but it will also give them the right to take advantage of the design of the vessel. So they will have naturally earned access to the codes or the results of the experimentation. So that's really pretty much the entry fee. There's no discrimination amongst those that are admitted. So there's a chance to evolve, and if they do really well, they will also have the benefit of using the human form. And this is done rightfully so. Now, the flip side of this are souls that are either too lazy or not strong enough to go through the natural process, taking a human body and living the life. And then there would be the theft of the codes from the human vessel, trying to cheat the system. That has backfired really badly, catastrophically. As we speak, there's this process of purging going on across this universe and all those others that are entangled in Earth. So these beings have the wisdom and the morality, and let's just say good manners and etiquette to abide by the laws of each world. They're not invaders. They come in with full knowledge and understanding of what is happening, what is required of them. And so harmony seems to be their greatest gift.
And we done such a beautiful job of the remote viewing.
I agree. This is very enjoyable. As we were going through uh, each image, more and more was coming in. Unique, beautiful information, life and birth of universes, and how to survive the death of a universe, and so on. So yes, this is a very rewarding and enjoyable adventure.
Beautiful. Well, is there any closing thoughts about this remote viewing project and what we experienced, learned here?
I think these wonderful beings from Alpha Centauri through interaction with you, will have this wonderful um, manifestation of their intentions, showing us what is lying ahead for us, the shape of the golden age. We know that the dark ages are over. Thank goodness. We're going through a transition period of healing and liberation and remembering. But this is what we can look forward to. It's mind-boggling. It's beyond any sort of Star Wars or Star Trek or any of that kind of science fiction, although beautiful and hopeful in what it shows in terms of possibilities for the future. But this is a more accurate and, let's say, evidence-based picture of the possible future for humanity. This is where we're going. Within the next few thousand years, this is going to be us. Although we have been impeded and prevented from, let's say, that slow, sleepy, lazy, gentle way that these beings have evolved. We've gone through the ringer, but once we are set loose, we're going to go through our rites of evolution, rites of passage very, very rapidly. This is what we can look forward to, creating stars, seeding life, and then the freedom to experience vessels, bodies, and incarnations among an infinite number of species. How wonderful is that?
It's awesome. You get to learn so much, experience so much. You don't have to be so volatile and topsy-turvy all over the place. You could choose a different way of being. These beings have shown us that that's possible and they've done it and shared this wonderful process with us.
I'm very grateful, and I'm getting to like them even more now that I kind of get what the whole purpose of this was. It's like, a little jigsaw puzzle. Oh, this piece goes here. Oh, this seems to be this. And then you put the whole picture together and you go, oh my God, these guys are awesome. It's the most sublime, gentle, non-intrusive, and polite way of saying, hey, this is where you're going.
And you've never seen these images before, so it's a very first time getting to remote view this.
It's very, very enjoyable.
Hmm. Well, thank you so much. And
Thank you for the opportunity.
I appreciate you putting in so much time and working with me on this. It is an incredible gift to share with humanity.
I'm at your service. It's an honor to be of service. I'm delighted. The what I'm feeling right now is the reward. This hope. In the past few days, I was getting this overwhelming repetition of a message of hope. That although now coming down to the densest form of quote unquote reality, what we are seeing in the world around us may seem chaotic, aggressive, violent. There is much hardship that many are going through, but it just washes all that away, knowing that it is just a short period of time that we're going through this transition. This is what we have to look forward to. It is just a breath of fresh air.
And it's wonderful to see that this is right next door. It's just in another part of the universe that's not too far from us.
It's,
So it's in this universe, it's in this existence, it's near us, actually.
yeah, we share all the laws. Nothing is different. Life seems to evolve in very, very similar ways. It's just properties that results in the same outcome. So much, much hope for the future. Seems that we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel now.
Exactly. And it's great to find this through these kinds of remote viewings and explorations because you don't really know. Like I looked at the images, but I didn't really go and explore them into depth on my own. I did a short synopsis of it, but nothing diving deep like we did here. So like I wanted to do an in-depth project with you.
Let's do more.
Oh, we definitely have more, and it's always exciting. And we're going to be looking our next show is going to be about Wivenhoe and about your experiences as a wizard.
Oh, okay. Let's go down that rabbit hole. Oh, yes.
That's the next one. So it's kind of me having a peek at you when you were in the Wivenhoe world and going through your metamorphosis as a wizard. There's images to explore in that one. So I'm looking forward to that show.
I welcome this, and it's interesting. It's a very sleepy little village. The most important thing that exists is a university and a fish and chips. It's got the best fish and chips in the United Kingdom. So other than these two, it's very sleepy and slow. And the most unbelievable, profound things occurred there for me. So yes, let's go down and see what lies at the bottom of the rabbit hole.
But I got that there's a very special cave by a river there, by the water, and that there's a portal there, and you went through a metamorphosis and a transformation in that space, and you got your I guess wizard stars, like the like in Star Trek you have these dots that higher
Yes,
graduation. It's like that's where you got your wizard wings, I would say.
there there are many rivers that eventually reach the sea, and so there is this location that you speak of, and the event that you have seen is a shamanic ceremony, a blessing of the earth, and apparently I opened up something that was already there, which greatly benefited me. Yeah, so a very joyous and momentous event. Again, connecting through a ceremony. It's essentially showing reverence and respect for life, honoring the land and the ancestors of the land, and extending the intentions of healing and offering oneself as a facilitator of healing. And so this would work in many places. I think that whole portal of divine codes that we saw. I think this is one of those locations. The county of Essex in the United Kingdom has always been a epicenter of magic. That's the southeast. Lots of the witch trials went on in this part of the country. But then we've got the southwest that is more Celtic, so close to the Irish island. They're more druidic, a different sort of flavor of spirituality. Here, they're pretty much wizardy. So, I caught the wizard bug.
Well, it's a metamorphosis between the light and the dark wizard and a harmony of balance between both. Like I got to see your journey as a younger wizard going through that metamorphosis of light and dark and transition in 9 images to sort of show as you're transforming and what happened in that cave and just kind of me looking at your soul in a snapshot of that reality. And you went back there recently on vacation and exploration and
Yes,
met Philip Barrows. So it's like the wizards met and you guys did something beautiful together.
Phil is in another location towards the center of the country. My visit was a separate event, but yes, these are all places of power. They're kind of plentiful. There's a rich history of spirituality on these two islands, in England and Ireland. The last refuge of the Druids, one of the last places that dragons could take physical form. Then later on down the line, it just became momentary condensation of form. So yes, that's going to be very interesting.
Perfect. So we'll continue this in the next show. Thank you so much, and I
Thank you.
appreciate your wonderful ability.
Honor and pleasure. I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too. Have a
Thank you.
beautiful, blessed evening.
Thank you very much. Take care, wonderful ladies and gentlemen. Love you. See you next time.
Bye.